about me. This matter is no child's play, and it is not one of these discoveries which are supported economically by rich foundations and announced every week with loud fanfare in the Times, New York Times. It is no private affair of mine either, but a work of importance for the good of all. I am just as much afraid of these hyenas in the scientific world as you are, but the fact that the function of the orgone energy takes place directly and visibly before all eyes is far more important. Then by November, Dr. Reich got no answer at all, and so Ilse Ollendorf, Dr. Reich's assistant, said, "Dear Miss Dukes, we would appreciate if you could find somebody there who would, on our expense, pack our apparatus, which is still there, into a box and send it by railroad express to our address." Ilse Ollendorf. It goes on, but is any questions up to this point?
When the experiment was done in the ground,
Yeah,
there's no variance of the temperature in the ground.
there was the same.
No, that's what I mean.
Oh,
Normally, there is no variance of temperature in the ground that would have cast doubt on the differential in the two.
well, yeah, I mean, Dr. Reich was aware of that, and he would say, well, you got this apparatus here in the ground and this one here, and it's probably a little warmer or colder here or there.
Right.
And Dr. Reich would change in many positions in the ground. And he would constantly get the TO minus T difference, anywhere from 0.1 centigrade up to 0.6 centigrade. And whether it was in spring, summer, or winter, it was constant. So, Dr. Reich, I didn't read that. That was a technical thing. And after Einstein's assistant, his name was Enfeld, which is very important at the end, dismissed the first one when it was on the tabletop by saying it was convections and currents and all of that. And they never did the ground experiments, and they just ignored Dr. Reich's experiments there. And where Einstein was, very enthusiastic and spent a lot of time with Dr. Reich, and he just shut up. It's obvious that he was not supposed to mention to anybody. They both agreed that they would not talk about anybody. And Einstein obviously talked to other people, and this was in 1941. 41, yeah. When the plague, of Dr. Reich's work in Norway with the electrical experiments and the accumulators, and there were a lot of red fascists working at the institute at that time. Several of them. Who was the one that got into a lot of trouble? Who was that? With the atomic energy, the bomb. Oppenheimer. He was there too at the time. Well, that's only, we don't know. But we know Enfeld was.
Was Dr. Reich aware at the onset of Einfeld's association with the East German?
No. Oh, no, that was at the end. That was at the end. He wasn't aware of Enfeld being there either.
They had more contact.
Who?
Einstein and Dr. Reich.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So this is already in November 14th, 1941. Dear Mrs. Dukes, that's Einstein's secretary, we received today the box with the instruments and wish to thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. See, Dr. Reich always acted like a gentleman and very like a gentleman, period. Unfortunately, you must have overlooked to enclose the orgonoscope, which Dr. Reich left there at his first visit. We enclose a sketch of the orgonoscope for your information, and would be thankful if you would forward this instrument at your earliest convenience. And then Helene Dukes wrote back right away, Dear Miss Ollendorf, the instrument which you mentioned was accepted by Professor Einstein as a present from Dr. Reich. But it is naturally at the disposal of Dr. Reich at any time. He could go down there and study it, use it. If you do not need it very urgently, I would propose that I shall bring it to New York occasionally and leave it with friends at Forest Hills, where you can have somebody call for it and use it. Bring it to New York occasionally, If it was nothing.
That's a remarkable letter.
Yeah. In case that you should need the instrument at once, kindly let me know and I will forward to you through the mail. What did he want it for, Ilse Ollendorf, Dear Mrs. Dukas, Dr. Reich needs the orgonoscope that you have there for the installation of a correction at the detector plate. Would you therefore be kind enough to bring it to New York occasionally? As soon as we have one of these instruments to spare, we shall return the orgonoscope to Professor Einstein. A follow-up letter by Ilse Ollendorf. Dear Miss Dukas, I have asked you several weeks ago to return the orgonoscope. We have not received it as yet. Return the orgonoscope occasionally. We have not received it as yet, and we would be thankful to you if you could take care of this matter as soon as possible, as we need the instrument urgently at the present time.
What was the date on that
January 1542. The war was on. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. It's right in the middle of
Well, yeah, 41.
bombing the pond.
It's right up to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Dear Miss Ollendorf, the orgonoscope will be forwarded to you today by Railroad Express. I use the precaution of wrapping the lenses separately and placing it in the same package. And that was that. And then T.P. Wolfe, Theodore P. Wolfe, I don't know if many people know who he was. Dr. Reich was, T.P. Wolfe was a very close associate of Dr. Reich and one of the earliest physicians to make contact with Dr. Reich in America. He was, he and Flanders Dunbar, they were at the Psychiatric Institute at Columbia University, and they published probably one of the earliest books on psychosomatic medicine. And then when he became aware of Dr. Reich and his work, he worked quite closely with Dr. Reich. In fact, he translated all of Dr. Reich's books from German to English. Character analysis and function of the orgasm, volumes 1 and 2, and Listen Here, Little Man, the rest of them. And he was really, I studied with in the seminars with T.P. Wolfe, and he was really something. Very, very brilliant guy. So Dr. Reich had T.P. Wolfe write to Einstein This is now February 14th, 1944, and there was a reason for that. Dear Professor Einstein, you will remember the discussion with Wilhelm Reich about the orgone energy in 1941 and the ensuing correspondence. Since that time, a number of readers of our publications have inquired whether you knew about this discovery. Unfortunately, we do not feel in a position to answer these queries because we never understood why you did not reply to Wilhelm Reich's extensive expose of February 20, 1941, in which he submitted the experimental refutation of your assistant's explanation of the temperature phenomenon. Recently, however, a new factor has been introduced into the situation. A rumor has been circulated that you undertook control experiments and were unable to confirm the findings. This is an attempt to discredit the findings, which in view of the importance of these findings cannot be taken lightly. This is to inform you that in view of these queries and rumors, it will be necessary to publish the relevant facts from these discussions and your letter of February 7, 1941 to Wilhelm Reich. Yours truly, Theodore P. Wolff. And Einstein replied in a couple of weeks, personally, not through his secretary. My dear Dr. Wolff, I received your letter of February 14th. I have to draw your attention to the fact that you have no right to publish anything I have written to Dr. Reich without my permission. Well, he never asked Dr. Reich for permission to reveal it to many other people. I do not give my permission for any publication of the kind you suggested, and I have to inform you that I shall take steps to prevent any misuse of my name in this connection. I cannot have my name used for advertising purposes, especially in a matter which has not my confidence. Is it confidence? Yeah. And Dr. Reich got a letter from a lawyer that Einstein sent to Chandler. I am sending you herewith to close the following documents. Letter from me to Einstein on December 30th, 1940. Letter from Einstein to me on February 7th, 1941, in which he confirmed the existence of the temperature differences, but supplies it with a misinterpretation of his insisting, and to you directly by Dr. Wolff, sent to you directly by Dr. Wolff. My extensive letter to Einstein on February 20th, 1941, with experimental refutation of the interpretation of Einstein's assistant. I have never received an answer to this letter, which was not understandable to me and all my co-workers. Not being able to imagine that Einstein could behave unpolitically, I continued in two more letters to tell him about the orgone research. These letters too remained unanswered. Letter from Wolff to Einstein on February 8, 1944. This letter was caused by the rumors we heard to the effect that Einstein had been unable to confirm the findings, which was not true. 5. Excerpts of a letter I wrote to Neil on September